Hi, Solar Girls. Welcome to my dining room. I'm here to teach you how to make one of my favorite foods for Dia del Niño. So my family is from Honduras, which is a country in Central America. It's south of Mexico. And a very typical food that we eat there are called pupusas. They're also eaten in El Salvador and Guatemala. So there's a little bit of debate. Who came up with the pupusa? Was it the Salvadorans or the Hondurans? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's a delicious food. Now, what you need to make pupusas is actually really simple. It's one of those really great foods that doesn't require a lot of ingredients. You need something called maseca, which is a corn flour, and this is also what you use to make tortillas. And you need water to make the masa. So I have already pre-prepared some masa with corn flour and water. You will also need, well, it depends on your filling. So traditional fillings will include cheese, beans, meat, but you can really fill it with anything that you like. The really cool thing is you get to be creative. So what I have is mozzarella cheese right now. If I were back home, I would use a cheese called quesillo, which is similar to mozzarella, but just a little saltier. And definitely refried beans. I made these earlier today. I'm not using any chicharron, but chicharron is basically seasoned pork meat, but you can fill them with chicken. I also know that you can use loroco, which is kind of like a squash blossom. It kind of has that similar taste, and it's delicious. You can really use anything you like. Now, to start, I'm going to dip my hands in a mixture of oil and water just so that the masa doesn't stick to my fingers because it can be kind of sticky. So I'm going to take a piece of masa that's about the size of a golf ball. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it in both hands and I'm going to roll it into a ball. So if you know how to use Play-Doh, you can do this. So after you make your ball, what you're going to do is you're gonna lightly squish it so it looks like that. Now my mom taught me this cool trick, and see I'm gonna keep dipping my fingers periodically in this water oil mixture so that it doesn't stick. So my mom taught me this cool trick when I learned how to make tortillas, where you basically use your thumb to help you form the circle, and your other hand you're gonna use your middle finger and your thumb to shape the circle. So I'm going to do this to kind of make sure that my shape is round, and I'm going to periodically flatten it. So you want to create a kind of thin circle, I would say about 1/4 of an inch. You don't want to make it too thin because then it'll break. So basically, let me see if I can get it. You're going to want it to be about that thick. And if you can manage to get it a little thinner, give it a try. And if you mess up, the good thing is you can show a lot of grit, roll it back up, and start over again. So I'm going to start by taking about 1/2 tablespoon's worth of cheese. I'm going to put it in the center. And I think I'm going to make a mean one. So I'm going to take about 1/2 tablespoon's worth of refried beans. And all you're going to do is fold it closed. And you're gently going to close the seams of both sides. And it's going to look kind of like a half circle or a half moon. And then you're gently going to shape it, maintaining the filling on the inside, into a circle. Now, I love cooking. I've been cooking since I was about a 2nd grader. I think that might be why that's my favorite grade to teach. And what I love about cooking is that you can be super curious, like one of our Solar 6. Oops. And you can show a lot of creativity. Now notice that I kind of broke it, so I can just take another tiny piece of masa and just fill in the hole that I made earlier. Great. And I'm just gonna gently shape it into a circle. Now, what you're gonna do next is you're gonna take a little bit of oil and you're gonna put it over your griddle. You can also use a frying pan. Now this is gonna be the part that you're gonna need some adult supervision to help you with. You should never be in the kitchen without your parents knowing. And after I have my half circle, I'm just gonna put it down on my griddle. You can hear that sizzle. This is gonna cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, oh, maybe 3 to 4 minutes on each side. And basically you're gonna look for it to be have all these like browned marks on the sides, and that'll be when you flip it over. So it'll take about 3 to 4 minutes. Now, pupusas are basically just really thick tortillas that have a filling in it. And I think that's why I like them so much, because you can add a lot of flavor to them. And I'm not, unfortunately, an expert at making them. My mom is really, really amazing at making them, and that's who I learned from. And she learned from her mom, and so it goes. But that's what I love. I love that when I'm cooking, I can be really creative. I can ask a lot of questions and try new things. And it also keeps me really connected to my culture. So I love cooking traditional foods that we eat, I grew up eating, and that I eat when I visit Honduras that aren't really found here in the States. So very quickly, I just made another one. I'm gonna lay it flat. So after a few minutes, I'll turn these bad boys over. Okay, so it's been a few minutes and I've made some extras. But what you're gonna do is just flip it over, and you'll notice it get nice, and I'll have these like nice brown spots. It's nice and crispy on the outside. It'll be nice and soft and tender on the inside. Beautiful. And the best part is, once you are done cooking these delicious little guys, you can serve it with a couple of things. So some people like to put hot sauce on theirs. I like to put hot sauce on mine because I like things a little spicy. And you can also make kind of like a coleslaw, I guess you would equate it to in English. In my culture, we call it encurtido, and in Salvador, they call it curtido, which is basically just cabbage that's sliced up, and it's kind of pickled. So I've been pickling this one in a little bit of lemon juice, vinegar. You can use white vinegar. And I've added some onions and jalapenos to it. I have the recipe for this also linked at the bottom of the video. And you would serve that on top of your pupusa, and then you just get to dive in and eat it. It is pretty delicious, and it gets all cheesy on the inside. It's really good. So I hope however you celebrate Dia del Niño, you get to do it with your friends or virtually and your family. And I hope that it's full of piñata making and fun read-alouds and delicious food. So that's it for me. Have a great day, Solar Girls.